Good day everyone. Today in this session I will be covering up a very important aspect of city, but before doing it let me recall once again what are the sessions and what are the important concepts which I have covered up. So, I did discuss about the processes that was involved in the emergence of city, what is a city, what are the diagrams of a city, how does a city evolve. Then I took a very important case to explain you from a geomorphological point of view the city of Patna and how did it evolve. I also requested all of you to sort of do a similar exercise for your own city in order to clarify yourself. But today in this session we would be covering up again a very important part of a city or a concept of a city from a design point of view or tools which urban design needs to sort of understand and use it in case of design. So, I will be covering up the syntax or the grammar of it. What I have done in this presentation is that I have taken learnings from various authors and I have put it together with my own understanding of the city. So, the authors may include Christopher Alexander or authors like N.J. Hebrakan has significantly contributed as a part of this presentation, or the theories which I have used I have derived from their writings. I have also in some way used writings about type and typology from the French school, from the Italian school and from the English school. In the end of the presentation, however, I will put for you all the readings that one needs to sort of do in order to understand the concepts clearly. However, I have tried to be very simple in trying to explain these concepts. So, in order to understand a city, it is important to understand what are the frameworks that are required. And from a physical point of view, I have covered what is urban morphology, what is type and typology, urban tissue, urban block, street, street edge, grains, etc., etc. So, what is urban morphology? Basically, urban morphology, it is a study of form of a city as a product of process. Now, I have been constantly emphasizing this part time and again that the process is very important in the emergence of the city, including the knowledge, the scientific knowledge that any civilization has at a particular point in time in history. The process could be, for example, an economical process, or it could be a social process, a political process, or it could be a process which is related to the manner in which human beings negotiates with the landform or the nature of a city. Let me give you a very simple example to make you understand. If you remember post liberalization, the city that emerged, many of the cities became cities which were known as high tech cities, where lot of IT sectors units came together and sort of built their own hub. If you remember or if you go and visit those places, you will realize that their floor plates are really very large as compared to say the scale of a dwelling or the scale of earlier institutions which we had. So, it not only occupies certain size in the land, but it also in some way has certain kind of volumetric presence, and therefore, the manner in which the entire city starts transforming, whether you talk about in terms of sizes, whether you talk about in terms of experience, etc., are very important to understand. So, I have given you one example, you may take another examples and try and really figure out how are these processes affecting the manner in which cities are formed. It is also very important that the study of urban morphology in some way talks about or helps in sort of understanding how does these physical form leads to a good community life, a sort of healthy settlement, etc. So, morphology of a city at any given point in time is an expression of the forces and circumstances responsible for making it. So, if you look at historically any point in time in history, then you will realize what were the dominant forces that were emerging during that point of time. So, if you look at medieval city, you will find say the hint about fortification, whether it is in some way explicit or implicit or notional, it is some way it is there as a defense mechanism. Of course, during that time trading was important and city needs to be protected, etc. So, I have given you one example to make you understand that any point in time in history, that is very important, and it is also important because at that particular time in history, the kind of knowledge that those people had has resulted into the urban form. So, what is a form? Now, form in general constitute all areas of understanding the physical forms of the city as well as the quality or the meaning which people relate to it. But in a very precise manner, it is a three-dimensional organization of elements of settlement in space. So, it is actually a spatial configuration. It includes all the physical features of the city. It may be street, it may be open lands, it may be institutions, it may be all services, everything included becomes part of the form of the city. Now, any form of the city has or sort of reveals certain kind of meaning, which I have been emphasizing, but more important I have been talking about how physically it is sort of understood and it needs to be related. Now, the next important term which I will be discussing is a settlement. Settlement is basically it is a grouping of buildings or example dwellings, institutions, etc., in a landscape. Now, this is very important because the manner in which a building is sort of sitting, it is sitting on a landscape. So, therefore, there are certain kinds of negotiations that have happened over a period of time in order to allow it to sit in a particular landscape. And therefore, you will sometimes find the nature of settlements which are there on the hills as compared to the nature of the settlements which are there on say plains or which are there on hot climates, which are there on say tropical climate which are more rainy or of a very different kind in some way. Therefore, in some way settlement carries all the understanding that is required. Next, I will be covering grain and land parcel. Now, grain is used in relation to scale of a building and street. So, an urban fabric is composed of various kinds of grain. To give you an example, there are buildings of various scales, whether it is at a scale of a dwelling or whether it is at a scale of institutions. Also, it sort of has various kinds of or various scales of open spaces, whether it is different scales of streets or whether it is maidan, whether it is chowks. So, all these different forms basically constitute what we call as grain. So, we discuss grain in relation to the fabric of a city. Other very important concept to understand is land parcel. Basically, land parcel is subdivision of landform, and there are various ways, various factors which leads to subdivision of landforms, whether it could be say sort of habitat that is required for 10 families to settle down and therefore, certain sizes of the plots that is required, or whether it is say if you divide a sort of land into parks or into large institution, into small institutions, etc. But it is also important to understand that there are very other kinds of forces that resulted in the kind of land parcel we have. If we look at it very carefully, many of the earlier forms of land parceling is coming from the manner in which the agriculture lands were developed, because city were usually taking over the agriculture land and sort of extending into it. I will give you one example to make you understand the subdivision of land and its relationship to water, to understand the seriousness with which a land parceling is sort of looked at. So, here is a example which I have taken. If you look at the image, there are series of this land parcel or agriculture lands which are there subdivided in some manner. You will also see the river in some way, and the river swells and sort of takes over the entire landscape. When it takes over the landscape, you must understand that it is taking over the entire agriculture land. So, let me now look at the next diagram to make you understand. So, if you observe this very carefully, you see these are settlements which are there, you observe that there is some kind of a hint of a channel, and then if you see there are linear ways in which the agriculture fields are organized. You also see some way in which there is a hint about this water body which is now in the form of agriculture land. So, if you observe it very carefully in the manner in which the land parcel were done, they have not divided, for example, in this way. So, if you observe very carefully, they have not divided parallel to the movement of the water, rather they have divided perpendicular to the movement of the water. Can you think why? Just try some time to understand why. And the reason is very simple, and the reason is that when our earlier ancestors settled down in these floodplains, and when they started subdividing their land, and therefore, each of the family member in some way had a sort of a each land parcel, it was very important that one family member do not lose their entire agriculture land, and therefore, they never divided the land parallel to the movement of water, and it was always perpendicular. By doing it, at least they were able to protect some part of the agriculture land if the floods were of not that scale. So, I have talked about a very important idea as to what is the land parcel and why is it important to understand the land parcel, because it in some way gives the learnings or the knowledge which a society has, and it comes from an experience which is of various levels of experience which exist in the society. A very important concept in urban design, or a very important way of representation in urban design, it is called the figure ground. Now, figure ground is basically, if you see in the image that I have put up, there are series of these black shaped, they are sort of organized in some way, which is sort of laid over a white background. So, in some sense there is some kind of a solid and there is some kind of a void. Now, it is an abstract tool, a method of representation of urban form in which the building constitute the figure over the background. So, the buildings are usually represented in black and the ground in white. However, people have also attempted to inverse it in order to discuss the relationship of the open space with respect to the building. So, it is a very important tool of analysis. So, figure ground in some way is a textual relationship. So, the textures are put on the ground in terms of those black shapes what you see. So, sometimes you might observe that somewhere there are sparse, somewhere it is intense, somewhere it is much more sparse, somewhere the size is bigger, somewhere it is smaller. So, each of them physically talks about the characteristics of figure and ground. So, why do we need a figure ground study? Now, of course, we need it to sort of represent it physically, and one of the good way to do it is of course to do a simple black and white. So, it is a kind of abstract representation, but it talks about the morphological characteristics of the space, and that is why it is important. And when I talk about morphology here, I simply mean shape. So, now, but the other aspect of it is also it implicitly carries some kind of a meaning in it. Okay. So, those meanings are worked out by various kinds of human interventions that have taken place over a period of time, and the understanding in terms of organizing those figures over ground. Now, I have put down 5 very important points about how can we read a figure ground, and so I will explain you one by one later. Some of them would be very clear, but some of them I will explain, especially the first 2-3 ones. So, one of them is observe similarity and differences. So, the moment you get a figure ground diagram, you have to observe what are the similarities and what are the differences. A good way to do it is to start with a unit or sort of an element, maybe a small open space, and go to a larger one, so that you understand it as a set of relationship. So, what you have to do is, in order to do it, you have to observe similar continuity and similar differences, that I will explain you later. Now, in order to do that, identify an element of figure ground, example street, chalk, maidan, etc., and go up or down the scale to understand it. Say for example, if you have to understand a building is related to the land parcel, but it is also related to the urban block. The urban block is related to the buildings and the streets, but it is also related to the urban tissue, and so on and so forth. So, each element in some way is related to the other, and we can derive the physical meaning of it only in those kind of relationship if we create. So, the readings of the relationship could be closeness to other buildings, kind of open space that the building leaves around, example streets or other kinds of open space. So, it is the geometry of the open space that it leaves. Also, it talks about kind of open space that the building has within. So, if the building is a courtyard house, then you will see those porosity which is expressed in the figure ground could give you a real picture of the form itself. However, in some case, depending on the kind of representation you are sort of trying to talk about, or the kind of meanings or the kind of learnings that you want to derive, you can also make your entire block in sort of black and represent as black and white. So, which are series of built space and open space. It also talks about the size of the open space. So, how if there is a street which is smaller, it is related to a larger, and it is still related to a larger. So, which means the levels becomes very important. So, whether we are talking about a level of a street, or whether we are talking about a level of a city where we have main arterial roads which are of certain sizes, which has ability to carry a huge amount of traffic, population, etc. So, let us go and discuss little bit about what is similar continuity and similar differences, and let me take an example to make you understand this. So, for example, this is a figure ground of city of Jaipur. So, what I have done is I have sort of selected B and A as two blocks. Now, once I have selected this, if you see very careful, I might start with this one, which is say a junction between 4 lines or 4 streets. Again I can start here. So, if you observe very carefully, this idea of connection of 4 is an idea which is expressed at many places in both B and A. So, this is the first thing we need to understand, similar continuity. Now, let us look at C and D and compare it. So, if you observe C, then if you observe it, so you will see that there are certain degree of similarity which is observed, but then if you start seeing this, then within that similarity there are certain degree of differences. So, this is what I mean by similar differences. So, this idea of similar continuity and similar differences starts giving you some idea of the manner in which the blocks are organized, the streets are organized, and therefore, you can start imagining the kind of open space that it has. In order to understand the physical form of a city, it is very important to understand geometrically what does a diagram do. So, what I have done here is I have put these 4 diagrams for you. So, if you observe very carefully, there is a circle, and the circle is divided by radial lines, and it divides into around 8 parts, and then another what I have done is I have divided using orthogonal forms. So, if you compare the left one with the right one, you will see, if you see here from this point, there are connections of these kinds. By the sheer manner in which it is connected in this diagram of a city, it shows that it is an important place in some way, or in the manner in which it sort of is connected even in the overall shape of this geometry. Whereas, in this case the second one to the right top, if you observe very carefully, the center is connected to the 4. Then there are these which are again connected to 4, So, if you start thinking about in some way each of these focus and the local focus are trying to compete. So, if you observe the local focus still has 4 connections, so some way it is trying to compete. However, still the main focus is important in the overall geometry. So, these kind of understanding becomes very important if we have to analyze it and look at it from a very physical point of view. Now, let me go and little bit change the left diagram, and so what I have done is I have combined the first two. So, one half is the first and the second half is the right one, and so you find this point is connected to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is connected to 1, 2, 3. This is connected to 1, 2, 3. So, it is a mix of two. However, if you realize there is certain way in which this has been given importance as compared to sort of the local focus, but it is important that in this case also there is some way in which it is competing, because geometrically in some way it is trying to give importance to both. Now, let us look at the right one, and if you observe very carefully, what I have done is I have collapsed the first two diagrams. So, what I have done is I have connected the radial ones as well as the orthogonal ones. So, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, it has the characteristics of the first one, and now if you observe this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And also in some way it has the characteristics of the second one. So, two geometrical ideas come together and make it. So, obviously, now you will have to start thinking about what would be that, how would you imagine those kind of physical forms of a city. So, what I am actually talking about here is it is very important to understand from a physical point of view geometry of a shape, how it is subdivided. If you move within that shape, how do you experience it, how do you understand it, and by the manner in which it is organized, it gives some emphasis to it. Now, let us take another case. Now, what I have done is, if you observe very carefully the A and the B diagrams which are there, I have little bit modified it, and so the A dash and the B dash are little bit modified form of A and B, and it is very simple. What I have done is I have shortened the two lengths of it so that it does not touches the periphery. So, if you observe in this case, but A dash, you find that this is present, this is present. In this case, this is gone and this is gone. Okay. The moment we do it, the relationship has completely changed. So, for example, if you start imagining it to be a movement network of the city, and if you start looking at this diagram, what this A dash diagram was talking about, opportunity at each focal point to connect to outside, whereas A, in the manner in which it is organized, it is connecting not to the periphery at these points, but to these two or these three lines, which means the load of A dash having this now is subdivided into these three lines, and this is very important to understand. Geometrically, the manner in which one organizes the street, what does it do? The same thing I have also done for the lower diagram. Now, I am giving you an exercise. Now, you look at all these two diagrams and now try and make out compared to the first and the second diagram, how will you read it, and how will you try to talk about the nature or the kind of urban form that it would create by just shifting the focus in that geometry to some other place. What does it do? And so, I have started with a very simple idea. I hope that you can take various diagrams of a city and try and read its impact like that. So, what are the findings that one can make while reading a figure ground? So, I have put down around 7-8 findings which you can have. The first is the scale and the proportion. So, you will realize what is the scale of a building or what is the scale of a block, what is the scale of a street, and you will realize by comparing it whether the street, one street to other street proportionately is big enough, small enough, etc. We would be also talking about the idea that in some way the figure ground talks about the way it is organized. So, how is it organized? So, how the buildings are organized within the block? Are they put adjacent to one another, or are they sort of organized in some other form? Are they organized linearly? One can also understand the orientation. So, the manner in which the urban forms are oriented, the grain characteristics, which means it talks about the urban fabric. So, what are the sizes of the buildings, what are the sizes of the streets, what are the sizes of open space. So, where there is sparse, where there is dense. So, all this qualitative judgment you can have it. It also in some way talks about the boundary. So, what is a limit? What is the sense of a boundary? Whether it is a block which has a street which is running all around, or whether it is an urban tissue which has several streets which are running all around. It also talks about territory, it talks about accessibility, flow, networks of streets, and it also in some way talks about the landform. So, if sometimes by just looking at a figure ground you might figure out that this seems to be a place where contours are there. So, the city seems to be located either on hills, on a sloping side, in the manner in which sort of a you sort of have an understanding of a figure ground, but one has to be very careful and one has to always verify it. So, this is the example I am sort of giving from Pune. So, if you observe very carefully, the left diagram is different from the right diagram. So, you see in the left diagram the emphasis are on all these blacks, and then you will find these sort of open spaces which are interspersed here. And the moment you shift the attention to the right, you will find the black, which is a series of movement network which becomes important, and therefore, what becomes important is the space between the buildings, and that is what it has been emphasized. This is a famous diagram by Nolly. He further worked on it, and if you see on the right side it is a figure ground, and on the left side is a figure ground where some of the buildings that have been shown is institution. A city is in some way an extension of an institution, and therefore, it has been represented in this manner, whereas on the right it just talks about the kind of open space that it has. So, can you now sort of understand that there are various ways in which you can interpret figure grounds and really make it very useful. Now, I would suggest that you try for city of Jaipur, or maybe whatever figure ground you have of your own city, you can try it and try and understand it, represent it in various way, maybe the manner in which Nolly is represented, or sort of all the 6-7 ideas which I had talked about as what all can you learn from a figure ground. Try and sort of put it together, visit a place and verify it and see whether it is working for you or not. The other important term is territory. So, for example, sometimes if you visit a settlement or a street, you might find that a building is sort of sitting on a plinth, the plinth are of certain size, it has steps. Then if you look at the adjacent building, the plinth would be recessed little bit, it would have some kind of a carving there, or sometimes you will find some kind of a floral pattern that is worked out right in front of the house itself, or sometimes the city has a boundary, or sometimes a building is sort of inserted within the boundary. So, there are various levels and ways of territorial claims. You might also realize that if you visit a street and if there is a street dog, they have a particular territory in which they sort of move. Beyond that, there will be some other dog's territory, and which is very interesting. So, animal also has a territory, human being also has a territory, and territories are of different scales and of hierarchies. Coming back to street. Now, street is very difficult to define. It is difficult to define because there has been many ways in which the street has been looked at. However, we are focusing here on the physical form of a street. So, it is a space between the buildings that offers various degree of qualitative engagement with its 3-dimensional envelope, its edge conditions, material, climate, etc. Therefore, it has a sense of wholeness, vitality and engagement which is not a thoroughfare. Let me go to some example maybe to make you understand this. So, now if we again look at this image on the left and on the right where somebody has made a section, a student in fact has made a section. So, if you see the sort of the perspective is worked out like that, you see some way it continues, you see the way all these details have been worked out. So, you see this plinth really coming out as compared to the first one. You see on the right how it is sort of articulated, and therefore, it allows some way in which the women is trying to engage with the street. So, there is a kind of horizontal relationship and there are vertical relationships which are there. Of course, it is made out of certain material and therefore, they are articulated in some way. If we look at the section and if for example, if we put a human being here, maybe a human being here, maybe a human being somewhere here, maybe a human being somewhere here, we might realize the relationship which exists like that, like this. So, all of these talks about the manner in which the inside is related to the outside and therefore, the engagement of the buildings to the sort of public space that it creates like that. And then when it sort of protrudes out, depending on what time of the day, you will see certain degree of shadow patterns all around maybe. So, you see that street as a physical form is related to the edge conditions to the building. It is not merely a point from where a movement starts and ends, but it is also a lateral engagement. Another important concept is the edge. Now, edges are usually linear elements, often having a more connection to its lateral directions. So, the earlier image when I was talking about the street, you observe that there was series of lateral relationship in terms of extension of plinths, in terms of steps, in terms of manner in which the building elements were articulated, all added to the quality of the edge. Therefore, edge is not a very straight line kind of a boundary, but it is sort of an ambiguous and it is very difficult to define because it has many kinds of activity that takes place over it. Edges in some way also talks about territory, and I have already discussed territory in few slides back. Now, level. So, I have been using this term street level, block level, tissue level, etc., etc. So, what is a level? So, level is a comparative relationship between different or same physical systems of an urban structure. So, for example, you can compare different levels of street. So, whether it is at a level of city or whether it is a level of urban block, that is one way to look at it. But you can also have different levels in terms of level of a city, then level of neighborhood. So, for example, what I have put down in this table is levels could be level of urban structure, it could be urban tissue, it could be urban block, it could be building, and therefore, the territorial units which are there could be town and neighborhood, neighborhood buildings, building and land parcel depending on its relationship to the left writings which are talking about the levels. So, I am just sort of running to explain you again as a diagram. The first diagram is about urban structure. So, it has some degree of independence, you can see almost the whole city in some way with its essential parts and the manner in which these essential networks are coming together, the presence of river and then certain way in which certain institutions have been emphasized. If you look at the center one, it is urban tissue which I will be explaining later, urban blocks, then building. So, this part of the presentation in some way covered some of the important aspect of reading or looking at city in terms of its artifact and the kind of syntax that we required in order to understand it. So, we covered terms like urban morphology, we covered terms like urban form, street, street edge, territory, etc., etc. I will continue some of the other important aspect of understanding of city as an artifact in my other session. Thank you.